chapters 15 through 21 of the book of Leviticus, from the Holy Bible in Modern English. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. The Holy Bible in Modern English, translated by Ferrar Fenton. The book of Leviticus, chapters 15 through 21. Chapter 15. The ever-living also spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, If any one of you has a discharge from their generative organs, they are diseased. These then are the diseases in his genitals, a discharge from his generative organ, or if the organ ceases from generative power, he is then unhealthy. Any bed upon which the sufferer from such discharge lies is defiled, and every chair upon which he sits is defiled, and any persons touching his bed shall wash their clothes, and bathe in water, and be unclean until the evening. And whoever sits on an article where the sufferer from the discharge has sat, shall wash their clothing, and bathe in water, and be unclean until the evening. And whoever touches the discharging flesh shall wash his clothing, and bathe in water, and be unclean until the evening. And upon whoever the issue spurts in cleansing it, they also shall wash their clothing, and bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. And every carriage upon which the patient rides is unclean. And anyone touching anything that has been under him shall be unclean until the evening, and whoever carries them shall wash their clothing, and bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. And every one who touches the sufferer from that discharge with his hand shall plunge it in water, and wash his clothes, and bathe in water, and be unclean until the evening. And an article of pottery that has touched the patient with that discharge shall be broken, and any article of wood shall be washed with a rush of water. But when he is cured of the discharging, fix for him 7 days to purify himself, and to wash his clothing, and to bathe his body in living water, and to cleanse. Then upon the 8th day let him prepare 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, and go to the priest before the ever-living at the door of the hall of assembly, and the priest shall offer one of them as a sin offering, and the other as a burnt offering. Thus the priest shall expiate for him before the ever-living for the discharge. And a man from whom has come the pouring of seed shall wash the whole of his flesh in water, and be unclean until the evening, and any fabric or any skin, upon which shall be the pouring of seed, shall also be washed in water, and be unclean until the evening. And every woman with whom a man has poured the pouring of seed shall also wash in water, and be unclean until evening. And a woman with whom may be menstruation shall have 7 days for the discharge of her body in seclusion, and all touching her shall be unclean until the evening. And all that she has upon her during her seclusion is unclean, and all she sits upon is unclean, and all who touch her bed shall wash their clothes, and bathe in water, and be unclean until the evening. And all touching any article upon which she has sat shall wash their clothing, and bathe in water, and be unclean until the evening. And if any one lies down with her, or upon any article where she has sat, or touches it, they are unclean until the evening. And if any husband copulates with her, when there is menstruation on her, then he shall be unclean for 7 days, and any bed upon which he copulated with her is unclean. But a woman who has a discharge of blood for many days, which is not her menstruation, or who discharges sap at her menstruation for a long period, beyond the time of her menstrual period, is unclean. Every bed upon which she lies all the time of her discharge shall be to her as a bed of menstruation, and every article upon which she sits shall be unclean, as with menstrual uncleanness. And whoever touches her is unclean, and shall wash their clothes, and bathe their bodies, and be unclean until the evening. But if she is cured of her discharge, appoint 7 days for her, and afterwards she shall be clean. Then at the 8th day she shall take 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, and bring them to the priest at the door of the hall of assembly. And the priest shall make of the one a sin offering, and of the other a burnt offering, and the priest shall expiate for her before the ever-living for the defect of her uncleanness. In this way the children of Israel shall separate themselves from their sins, and not die in their sins, with the sins of the populations among whom you reside. These are the laws regulating generative diseases that come to you from sexual sins. Chapter 16. The Ever-Living also spoke to Moses after the death of the 2 sons of Aaron, while offering in the presence of the Lord, when he killed them. The Ever-Living then said to Moses, Say to Aaron your brother, that he must not come at all times from the sanctuary of the house to within the veil before the expiatories which are over the ark, lest he should die. For I appear in the cloud upon the coverings. This is how Aaron must go to the sanctuary: with a bull, the son of the fold, for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering, his body clothed with the sacred robes, and his trousers shall be upon his body, and girt with his waist belt, and turbaned with his turban, and with the sacred robes, and his body and clothing washed in water. And he shall take 2 goats for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering, for the chiefs of the children of Israel. And Aaron shall present the bull he has with him for the sin offering, and expiate for the sins of himself and the family of his own house. Then take the 2 goats and place them before the Ever-Living at the door of the hall of assembly, where Aaron shall cast lots over the 2 goats, to allot one to the Ever-Living, and allot the other as a scapegoat. Aaron shall afterwards sacrifice the goat which the lot came upon for the Ever-Living, and the goat which the lot came upon for a scapegoat he shall place alive before the Ever-Living, to expiate with it, by sending it as a scapegoat into the field. Aaron shall next sacrifice the bull on account of his own sins, and expiate for himself and on account of his own house, and slay the bull for his own sins. Then he shall take a shovel full of burning coals from off the altar before the Ever-Living, and fill his hand with sweet incense powder, and bring it from the house to the veil, and put the incense on to the fire before the Ever-Living. And the cloud from the incense shall cover the veil that is over the witnesses, and he shall not die. Let him next take some of the blood of the bull, and sprinkle with his forefinger before the veil towards the east. And before the expiatories he shall sprinkle the blood 7 times with his finger. Then slay the goat that is for the sins of the nation, and bring some of its blood from the house to the veil, and do with that blood as he did with the blood of the bull, and sprinkle some of it upon the veil and before the veil, and expiate for the sins of the children of Israel, and for their rebellions with all their sins. And do the same to the hall of assembly which is erected in the midst of their sins. And no person shall be in the hall of assembly when he goes to expiate in the sanctuary, when he expiates on account of himself, and on account of his house, and for the whole congregation of Israel. Then he shall come to the altar that is before the Ever-Living, and expiate for himself, and take some of the blood of the bull, and some of the blood of the ram, and put upon the horns at the side of the altar, and sprinkle some of the blood with his forefinger 7 times, and purify it, and sanctify himself from the sins of the children of Israel. When he has finished expiating for the sanctuary, and the hall of assembly, and the altar, he shall then present the live goat, and Aaron shall lay his 2 hands upon the head of the live goat, and confess upon it the whole of the frailties of the children of Israel, and the whole of their faults, and the whole of their sins, and lay them upon the head of the goat, and send it by the hand of a man of my people into the desert. And that goat shall carry upon itself the whole of their frailties to the land of forgetfulness. Thus the goat shall be sent to the desert. Aaron shall next go to the hall of assembly, and strip off from himself the robes with which he was clothed at his going to the sanctuary, and leave them there, and bathe his body in water in the holy place, then put on his robes, and come and offer the burnt offering for himself, and the burnt offering for the nation, and expiate on account of himself and on account of the nation, and burn the fat of the sin offerings with incense upon the altar. The man who drove out the scapegoat shall afterwards wash his clothes, and bathe his body in water, and then he may go into the camp. Next the bull of the sin offering, and the ram of the sin offering, some of whose blood was brought for expiating to the sanctuary, shall be brought to the outside of the camp, and burnt with fire, the skin, and the flesh, and the dung. But the person who burns them shall wash his clothes, and bathe his body in water, previous to returning to the camp. This shall be a perpetual institution for you in the 7th month, in the 10th day of the month, that you may humble yourselves and do no business, either the native or the foreigner living amongst you. For on that day there is an expiation made for you, to purify you from all your sins before the Ever-Living. you must be pure. It shall be to you a rest of rests, when you shall humble your lives, an institution forever. At that time the priest who has been consecrated, and who has been appointed as priest in the place of his fathers, and has put on himself the sacred robes, shall thus expiate for the Holy of Holies and the hall of assembly, and also expiate for the altar, and for the priests, and expiate for all the people of the congregation. And this shall be a perpetual institution for you, to expiate for the whole of the children of Israel on account of all their sins, once every year. And it was done as the ever-living had instructed Moses. Chapter 17. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to Aaron and his sons with all the children of Israel, and say to them, This is the thing that the ever-living has commanded to be said. Any man of the house of Israel who slays a bullock, or sheep, or goat at the altar, or who slays it outside the camp or at the door of the hall of assembly, who comes not to offer a gift to the ever-living before the dwelling of the ever-living, blood shall be imputed to that man, blood spilt. That man shall be excommunicated from association with his people. So that instead of the children of Israel going to their altars that they have in the open fields, they must bring their offerings to the ever-living at the door of the hall of assembly to the priest, that he may offer for them to the ever-living. And the priest shall sprinkle the blood upon the altar of the ever-living at the door of the hall of assembly, and burn the fat with incense, as a delightful breath to the ever-living. For you shall never sacrifice your sacrifices to demons that you whore after. This is an everlasting command to them and their posterity. Say also to them, Any man of the house of Israel or of the foreigners who reside among them, who offers a burnt offering or sacrifice, and does not cause it to be brought to the door of the hall of assembly to offer it to the ever-living, that man shall be excommunicated from his people. And every person of the children of Israel or of the foreigners who reside amongst them, who eats any blood, or places before me what he has eaten with a life blood in it, I will cause him to be excommunicated from association with the nation. For the life of the body is in its blood, and I have given it to you for the altar, to expiate for your sins, for the blood with its life expiates. Therefore I say to the children of Israel, No person of you shall eat the blood, and the foreigner that resides among you shall not eat blood. Any person also from the children of Israel or from the foreigners who reside among you, who hunts animal or bird that he may eat it, shall also pour out the blood and cover it with dust, because the life of all flesh is in its blood, as its life. Therefore say to the children of Israel, You shall not eat the life with the blood of any flesh, for the life of all flesh is in its blood. All eating of it shall be excommunicated. And every person who eats of a dead carcass, or one torn, or mangled, or worried, shall wash his clothes, and bathe in water, and be unclean until the evening, and then clean. But if he does not wash his body or bathe, he shall bear his sin. Chapter 18. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, I am your ever-living God. You shall not do as in the land of the Mitzrayim when you dwelt there, and you shall not do as the land of Canaan does, to which I shall bring you. You shall not continue their customs. You shall practice my decrees, and observe my institutions, to walk by them. I am your ever-living God. And you shall guard my institutions and my decrees which were made for you, and live in them. I am the ever-living. No person shall approach to a relative of his body to uncover their sexuality. I am the ever-living. The sexuality of your father or the sexuality of your mother you shall not uncover. She is your mother. You shall not uncover her sexuality. You shall not uncover the sexuality of a wife of your father. I am the ever-living. The sexuality of your sister, a daughter of your father or a daughter of your mother, born in the house or born out of it, you shall not uncover the sexuality of them. You shall not uncover the sexuality of the daughter of your son or the daughter of your daughter, for that is your own sexuality. You shall not uncover the sexuality of the daughters of the wives of your father, born to your father. She is your sister. You shall not uncover the sexuality of the sister of your father. She is of your father's blood. You shall not uncover the sexuality of the sister of your mother. She is of your mother's blood. You shall not uncover the sexuality of the wife of the brother of your father. Your love shall not approach to her. You shall not uncover the sexuality of your daughter-in-law. She is the wife of your son. You shall not uncover her sexuality. You shall not uncover the sexuality of your brother's wife. She is your brother's wife. You shall not uncover the sexuality of a woman and her daughter, the daughter of her son, or the daughter of her daughter. You shall not take to uncover their sexuality. Copulation with them is wickedness. And you shall not marry a wife's sister, to grieve her by uncovering her sexuality whilst she lives. You shall not approach to a woman unclean by menstruation, to uncover her sexuality. And to the wife of your neighbor you shall not give your copulation for seed, to defile her. And you shall not give of your seed to pass to Moloch, and thus defile the name of your God. I am the ever-living. And with a man you shall not copulate with the copulation of a woman. It is abominable. And to any beast you shall not give your copulation to defile it. And a woman shall not place herself to the face of a beast to copulate. It is incest. You shall not defile yourselves with any of these, for with all these the heathen defiled themselves, whom I shall drive out from before you, and they defiled the land. Therefore I punish the sin in it upon them, and the land spews out its inhabitants. Therefore you yourselves must preserve my institutions and decrees, and not practice any of these abominations, either you natives or foreigners residing among you. For the whole of these abominations the population of the land, whom I shall drive out from before you, practiced, and they defiled the land. If you do so, the land will spew you out for your defiling it, as it spewed out the heathen who were before you, for all that they did, with all these abominations. Therefore the people who do them shall be cut off from the boundaries of your people. Chapter 19. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to all the chiefs of the children of Israel, and say to them, Be holy, for I, your ever-living God, am holy. Each of you reverence your mother and father, and keep my Sabbaths. I am the ever-living God. You shall not turn to idols, and you shall not make metal gods for yourselves. I am the ever-living your God. And when you offer a thank offering, you shall offer it to your ever-living strength. You shall eat it in the day of sacrifice and the day after, but the remainder to the third day you shall burn with fire. And if anyone eats of it on the third day, it is worthless, and will not be accepted, and the eater of it shall bear his fault, for he profanes the holiness of the ever-living, so that person shall be excluded from his family. And when you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not continue cutting to the sides of your field, cutting and gleaning. You shall not cut the gleanings. And you shall not strip your vineyard, nor shall you glean the scatterings of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and the foreigner. I am your ever-living God. You shall not rob, and you shall not deceive, and you shall not lie each to his neighbor, and you shall not swear by my name to a lie, and disgrace the name of your God. I am the ever-living. And you shall not oppress, and you shall not plunder, nor retain the wages of a workman with yourself until the morning. You shall not curse the deaf, and before the blind you shall not place a stumbling block, but you shall fear your God. I am the ever-living. You shall not do wrong instead of justice. You shall not despise the face of the lowly, and honor the face of the great. You shall judge your neighbor in righteousness. You shall not go about slandering your neighbor. You shall not lie in wait for the blood of your neighbor. I am the ever-living. You shall not hate your brother in your heart. You may reprove your neighbor, but not bear ill will against him. You shall not take revenge upon the child of your neighbor, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the ever-living. You shall preserve my institutions. You shall not yoke together different kinds of cattle. You shall not sow in your field mixed kinds of seed. And you shall not put on yourself cloth woven of different materials. And anyone who lies with a woman in pouring of seed, and she was enslaved as a slave to the man, and was not free as a free woman, or at liberty, punishment shall not be given to her, she shall not be killed, for she was not free. But she shall bring to the ever-living, to the door of the hall of assembly, a ram for a sin offering, and the priest shall expiate for her before the ever-living, with the ram as a sin offering, for the sin which she has sinned, and the sin which she has sinned shall be forgiven. When you arrive in the land, and plant any tree for food, you shall consecrate its fruit. It shall remain upon it 3 years for a consecration. You shall not eat of it. But in the 4th year all its fruits shall be devoted as thanks to the ever-living. But in the 5th year you may eat its fruit. Its produce shall be for yourselves. I am your ever-living God. You shall not eat anything with its blood. You shall not worship serpents. You shall not worship clouds. You shall not cut off the beard on your cheeks, and you shall not destroy the beard of your chin. You shall not make tattooings on your flesh for spirits, nor put written brands upon yourselves. I am the ever-living. You shall not pollute your daughters to whoredom, by causing them to whore, and filling the country with wickedness. You shall keep my Sabbaths, and you shall reverence my sacred things. I am the ever-living. You shall not turn to spirits or to fortune-tellers to inquire of them, to sin with them. I am your ever-living God. You shall rise up before the gray-headed, and pay respect to the presence of a judge, and reverence to your God. I am the ever-living. And when a foreigner resides in your land, you shall not oppress him. As it is with you natives, so it shall be with the foreigners among you. You shall love them as yourselves. For you were foreigners in the land of the Mitzrayim. I am your ever-living God. You shall not do wrong in measuring as to length, weight, or measure. You shall have a true scale, true weights, a true bushel, a true gallon. I am your ever-living God, who brought you out of the land of the Mitzrayim. Therefore you shall keep the whole of my institutions and all my decrees, and practice them. I am the ever-living. Chapter 20. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to the children of Israel, to each one of the sons of Israel, and to the foreigners among Israel. Whoever gives their offspring to Moloch, they shall be killed. The people of the country shall stone them with stones. And I will place my face against that person, and will cut him off from his people, for giving his offspring to Moloch, to defile my holiness and to pollute my holy name. And if to conceal it, the people of the country cover their eyes from the person who gives his offspring to Moloch, to destroy him in death, I, however, will set my face against that person, and destroy him, and cut him off, with all those who whore after him, whoring after Moloch, from the midst of their people. The person also who turns to spirits and to wizards to whore after them, I will put my face against that person, and will excommunicate him from the midst of his people. For you shall make yourselves holy, and be holy, for I am your ever-living God. Therefore you shall preserve my institutions, and practice them. I, the ever-living, must make you holy. Whatever person outrages his father or his mother, let him be put to death. The blood of the outrager of his father or mother is upon himself. The man who commits adultery with a wife, the man who commits adultery with a wife of his neighbor shall be killed, both the adulterer and adulteress. The man who copulates with a wife of his father, uncovering the sexuality of his father, they shall both die. Their blood is on themselves. The man who copulates with his daughter-in-law, both who have done that villainy, shall die. Their blood is upon themselves. And the man who copulates with a male, with the copulation of a woman, commits abomination. They shall both die. Their blood is on themselves. And the man who takes a woman and her mother, it is wickedness. They shall burn him in fire with them. That wickedness shall not be in the midst of you. And the man who copulates with a beast shall be killed, and the beast shall be slaughtered. And the woman who approaches to a beast to copulate with it, with the copulation of a woman, both the beast and she shall be killed. Their blood is on themselves. And the man who takes his sister, the daughter of his father, or the daughter of his mother, and sees her sexuality, and she sees his sexuality, they are disgraceful, and shall be excommunicated in the sight of their people. He shall bear his sin for uncovering the sexuality of his sister. And a man who copulates with a sick woman, and uncovers the nakedness of her fount upon her, and uncovers the fount of her blood, both shall be cut off from association with their people. You shall not uncover the sexuality of the sister of your mother, or the sister of your father, for they are his flesh. Whoever uncovers them shall bear their sin. The man who copulates with his aunt, uncovering the sexuality of his aunt, they shall each bear their sin. They shall be killed openly. And the man who takes the wife of his brother, in uncovering the sexuality of his brother, they shall be exposed. Thus you shall keep all my institutions and all my decrees, and shall practice them, and then the land that I will bring you to as a residence will not spew you out. Thus you shall not conduct yourselves according to the customs of the heathen whom I shall drive out from before you, for they practiced all these things in their land. Therefore I promised you should inherit their country, and I will give to you the inheritance of that land flowing with milk and honey. I am your ever-living God, who will destroy them from among the nations. You shall also distinguish between the clean animals and the unclean, and between the unclean birds and the clean. And you shall not pollute your lives with animal or bird, or any reptile of the field, which I have pointed out to you as unclean. But you shall be healthy before me, for I, the ever-living, am holy, and have separated you from the nations, to be for myself. Therefore the man or woman who possesses a spirit, or a foreteller, shall be put to death. They shall be stoned with stones. Their blood is upon themselves. Chapter 21. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, commanding, Speak to the priests, the sons of Aaron, and command them that they shall not defile themselves for their relatives, not even for a near blood relation of them, for their mother, or for their father, or for their son, or for their daughter, or for their brother, or for their sister, or their dearest loved daughter who has not been to a man to wed her. He shall not debase or degrade himself with grief. They shall not shave strips upon their heads, nor shave off their whiskers, nor cut gashes on their bodies. They are sacred to their God, and shall not lower the name of their God, for they offer bread to the ever-living their God. They offer themselves, and they shall be healthy. They shall not take for a wife a whore or a loose woman, and they shall not marry a woman who has been divorced, for they are holy to the ever-living. And they shall keep themselves holy, as an offering to your God. He who approaches the holy must be the same, for I, the ever-living, make you holy. And the daughter of a priest who defiles herself with whoredom, she defiles her father. You shall burn her with fire. The chief priest also over his brothers, upon whose head has been poured the oil of consecration, and his hand filled by the investiture of the robes, shall not neglect his head, and shall not neglect his robes, and never disorder his person for a death. Not if it comes to his father or his mother shall he degrade himself. Nor shall he go from the sanctuary, nor shall he wail, for he has been separated by the oil of consecration to his God. I am the ever-living. Therefore he shall take a maiden for his wife. He shall not take a widow, or a divorced woman, or one abandoned to whoredom, any of them, but he shall take a wife only from the virgins of his own people. He shall not degrade his race or his family, for I, the ever-living, have sanctified it. The ever-living also spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron, and say, Any man from the offspring of your posterity, who may be disfigured, shall not approach to offer bread to his God. For any man in whom there is a defect shall not approach, anyone blind, or lame, or flat-nosed, or deformed, or a man who has a broken leg, or a broken hand, or hump-backed, or a dwarf, or squint-eyed, or scurvied, or scabbed, or defective in his testicles. Any man of the race of Aaron the priest in whom there may be a defect shall not approach to present offerings to the ever-living. Because of his defect he shall not approach to present bread to his God. It is the bread of God for them, holy of holies, and the healthy shall eat it. He shall also not come within the veil, nor approach to the altar, because of his defect, so as not to profane my holiness. For I am the ever-living sanctifier. Moses consequently spoke this to Aaron and his sons, and to all the children of Israel. The end of chapters 15 through 21 of the book of Leviticus. Recording by Mark Penfold.